we're back for the final time. We have had an absolute blast listening to Spud. Gaz, Damo, Bristle, lots of people would have spoken to you in the last sort of 4 or 5 days, and they have to me too. And where do you start on Spud? Where do you start on a bloke who was just a life force, an incredible presence? But the thing I always say to people is, despite, put everything else aside of what an unbelievable person Spud was, and an incredible family man, and all of the amazing things that everyone will talk about in the next week or so, what he was, and you've just heard it, is the most incredibly entertaining broadcaster. And I had all of this, Gaz, I'd forgotten 90% of it even happened.
Yeah, well, so how I have dealt with the last 4 days is listening to a lot of this stuff, and even given that I've missed half of it, and it just brings back this great sort of happiness for me, and smile, and hearing him talk in amongst all this stuff that you just heard. You can see it encapsulates him to me and you boys perfectly. It's his excitement, it's his want of taking the piss out of everyone and laughing.
And himself. And I think during that period, Gary, during this period that we've sort of been with today, that the Triple M period and his Channel 9 days, I think that was the period in his life in which he was most happy. He just loved that period of life, didn't he?
He did, and I think bounce with Chief in the last few years as well. So you're dead right. And when I listen to his voice, it is so familiar. It's like he's going to walk through the door
how can
in
that
a
be
second,
gone?
and he's going to go, "What are you four flogs doing?"
Yeah.
That's how it feels right now, and that's why it's so bloody hard.
Well,
no, Jim, I'd agree. Like this, the emotional rawness that Danny always had, it was on show regularly, wasn't it? He just wanted all of us to laugh with him, at him. It doesn't matter how the laugh came. He just wanted it to come, and he would put himself, as he would often say, under the bus to get it. And I'd agree, BT. I think the periods he spent with Triple M, as much in the build up to the 6 hours on air, were the happiest I've seen him.
And he was a great leader. Like, I just remember going on that bus tour year after year after year, and you had a whole heap of footballers on there, and he was the middleman. He was the conduit for everything that was funny, everything that was good, everything that was entertaining. He was the man that was sort of right in the middle of it, made it all happen, made it work.
This is how I say about. We could go to functions or work or whatever, and it'd be boring, right? You'd be sitting there for 40 minutes and you're going, this is just... So all you'd need to do is go, it's pretty boring, this, Bud. And you go, he hadn't even occurred to him, go, it is too. So we've got to liven this up. So, yeah, we do. What can we do? Oh, no, I reckon it'd be funny if he got up and started... Yeah. Next minute, he'd be giving it to everyone. Things would come to life.
And that was we've somehow got through this period, and we've already gone over, haven't we, Jim? But we haven't even referenced the glass eye, which is to your point there about things getting boring, Gaz. Remember, even off air, we just do the little, like the glass eye starting to bounce fast and then slowing it down to the point where it went to sleep.
I know, bad luck. We're going a bit longer. So I haven't spoken about this when I worked with him, with Gavin Brown in the clinics, right? So Monday to Friday.
So for people that out there don't know, in the 90s, early 90s, wasn't it, Gaz?
Yep.
The AFL ran clinics at all of the schools around Victoria.
Yes, indeed.
And they had a group of footballers doing it.
Yeah, so we were the 3 full-timers, but then each of us would have a little team of, I had Stephen Phoebe or Matty Phoebe or one of those. Spud had his St Kilda mate. Roosie used to do a lot of them. And we go up the country every couple of weeks as well. This one day we're at Heidelberg. This is 100% true. It was a big clinic, and Spud, we'd have 300 kids at 9:15, 300 at 11:30, 300 at 1:30. It's Warrior. By 1:30, we'd had enough, and by the end of Thursday, we'd had about 1,500. So this kid's giving Spud a hard time, and get Rowdy cranking him up. Go and tell him, Mr. Potato Head, and all this. And so this rugged sort of Heidelberg kid kept going up, and anyway, Spud had enough and grabbed him and booted him up the arse. And so kicked him up the arse, not hard, but kicked him and said, "Get back." Anyway, we're watching from the other end of the oval, right? And then we're looking around, one parent.
Oh, no.
There's one parent at the thing. This big bloke in his singlet starts walking towards Spud, right? And we're going, oh, this is not good, Spud. And he looks up, he recognises it, so he gets on the front foot. He grabs the kid, says, "Come with me, kid," takes him to the back of the station wagon. open the station wagon, footies, footy boots, footy jumpers, and the father sort of looking at him, and Spud sees, he says, "Oh yeah, bit harsh on the young fella, but he's got that much talent, you know." So he walked off with 50 footies, footy boots under his arm.
Come on, Spud. Well, we haven't got time, but the other thing we haven't discussed is when we went up on the boat.
The greatest trip ever. Can we or not?
Newman, Dunstall, BT.
Just one story.
Spud, Gaz and myself.
This big luxury boat. Everyone's got to do it one day. It was just the most incredible job. We went away. All went up on this
4
big
nights.
boat. Hamilton Island, 4 nights. Luxury. Cook, skipper, staff, just fully ready to go. And we've all got on the boat and everything's good. And we're a few nights in, and Spud said, "Oh, it's sort of boring out here," because it was just us. And we ended up playing Scrabble with Sam and Dunstall, the two smugs.
I was with Chief. We won.
It was you and Chief,
Yep,
was it?
yep.
Against me and Spud.
And Brayshaw and Bill, was it?
No, it was Sam.
Anyway,
You were Sam, yeah.
I was with
you
Sam.
guys are making 3-syllable words out of your letters. We're doing we, it, to, go.
That's it.
Like we couldn't get past that, Spud and I.
What about when Sam went and got the camera because they had only vowels? These blokes, so they actually couldn't form a word. So Sam's looking from the side. I'm going, this is going to be interesting because he could see their tablets. Anyway, after they put the word down, Sam said, "You must leave the table for a second. I need to get a photo," because they'd put 2 O's next to an M. Moo.
But it got down. Yes, that did happen. It did happen. We weren't going well. And I went to Pinjarra High and he went to Bungaree High.
Oh, so funny.
But anyway, we worked after 3 nights. It was pretty boring out in the water. We'd best to come back to Hamilton Island, anchor up to the wharf and just spend our night there. And we had about $4,000 or $5,000 left in sort of group money that we'd put in, and I didn't want to go out, and I went to bed, and I said to all of you guys, off you go.
Of course you go, right?
Anyway, Spud's come back about 5 in the morning, and the whole boat was echoing noise. And I thought, what the hell is going on? Spud's arrived back, and I heard a big splash in the water, and I thought, Jesus, that doesn't sound good. And all of a sudden, the skipper's come running up to my little bunk up in the narrow part of the boat and said, your mate, what's his name? Frawley, he's just thrown my full-size marble statue into the water. You've got to go and get it out. I'll go to the back of the boat and this marble statue's about 4 metres down. I think, shit, how are we going to get that out of the water? Anyway, next day we tied ropes on it and all sorts of shit, and we got it out. But that's what he did.
He was walking around when I got home with a full mask,
a
face mask and goggles and a snorkel.
That's it.
And just rampaging, and then
he was
left at about 9. Remember he went home
He
early?
did, early.
He did.
And the skipper sat on the thing and watched him go. Jesus, that bloke's gone.
I don't know if we can beep this, but I heard the skipper as he exited the boat going, "Thank for that."